If you want to become a successful trader, you must have these 4 very important qualities: patience, discipline, self-awareness, and confidence. Patience: good traders wait for the right opportunity, for the right chance to make trades. They know not to rush into things. This helps them to avoid making quick decisions that will end up losing their money. Discipline: imagine having a plan and sticking to it. That's discipline. Successful traders follow the plan without getting distracted. Mental awareness: this is about knowing how you feel and why. Good traders pay attention to their emotions and stay calm no matter what happens in the market. Confidence: being sure of yourself, but not too much. Good traders believe in their strategies and decisions. This confidence helps them to stay calm when they win or lose. Hey there, Tom here from FIBONACCI'S.com here with the weekly market recap. Please hit the like, subscribe, share with friends, and without any further ado, let's see the charts. Weekly market recap. We'll go over on the weekly and on the daily, zooming out, zooming in to get a better point of view of price action. If we take a look on the weekly for the SPY, we can clearly see that this uptrend line is holding the higher lows, which means SPY is still in an uptrend, holding this uptrend line. Let's see next week where price will take us. On the daily, breaking below this trend line, going towards this 443 gap, still not filled. This gap must get filled before the next leg up. QQQ, same thing. On the weekly, we can clearly see this white trend line is holding the higher lows. So for now, Q's in uptrend until proven otherwise, even though we have 2 consecutive weeks to the downside. 362 needs to hold, otherwise 344 will be next. On the daily, Friday closed with a doji, and we all know that a doji can represent a trend reversal. It's the most significant signal that we have for what might be a trend reversal, in this case to the upside. We can take Fibonacci, swing low, swing high. 364 now is the support. Not surprising, because if we look left, it was support over here during beginning of July, and it was very tough resistance during June. So now doji on a very important level of support and resistance. Let's see if Qs can reverse back up towards the 370 area. IWM, second consecutive week to the downside. 188 now needs to hold. This is the next support. And as we can see, IWM on the daily fill the gap from July 11. More than 80% gaps will get filled throughout time. It's not rocket science, and it's not surprising, because we knew that once 191 will fail to hold the support, this gap will get filled, and now we can delete it. This purple trend line now will become, from support, it will become resistance. Dow Jones, nothing much on the weekly. 3 consecutive weeks, same highs at the 355, 356 area. Another doji, lower lows, 3 consecutive weeks. We can take Fibonacci also on the weekly. Swing low, swing high, 352, 353 to the downside is the support. Below it, 350, 348. Below 348, we are heading towards this white trend line. Because this white trend line, as we can see, support, support, support over here. Next, below 348, this white trend line will get retested once again as support. On the daily, not much of a price action. 349 to the downside, 353 to the upside. For now, nothing much on the Dow Jones. Bitcoin on the weekly, holding this trend line, lower highs since beginning of January. below this trend line, below the 28,650, we are heading towards the 26,450. But as we can see, since end of June, 7 consecutive dojis on the Bitcoin. Be prepared because a major move will come very soon. Ethereum, anyway, if we go back to the Bitcoin, 7 consecutive weeks as a dojis, indecision, big move to the downside or to the upside. Always prepare for both sides because no one knows what will happen next. Same thing on Ethereum, 1820 is holding since end of June. 1955 is the resistance. Let's see where Ethereum is taking us. Oil. If you follow me on Twitter and you saw previous videos on the daily market review, on the weekly market reviews also, we said that above a weekly close above 75 and oil will go all the way towards this white box at the 82, 83. And here we are. Second consecutive week, this week with the doji failing to cross and close above this box. Closing above it, 89 or 90 will be next. If you find anything helpful on this video, please hit the like, subscribe, share with friends. If you don't, also like, subscribe, share with friends, and comment below. Any feedback, any comment, any suggestion will be much appreciated. Apple, this gap at the 175, 176 needs to get filled. Also on the weekly, we can see it. Now, 176.75 is holding. We can take Fibonacci once again. We can take Fibonacci, swing low, swing high. This is our swing low, our swing high, and not surprising, Fibonacci gives us support and resistance for future price action. For now on Apple, I'm waiting for this gap to get filled. Amazon, if we take a look on the daily, we start with Amazon on the daily. Since earnings gap up towards this purple trend line, slowly, sliding down towards the 136. 136 was previous highs. And if we can see on the weekly, we have an inside week, which means indecision on Amazon. Continuation to the upside, 160. Continuation to the downside, 128. Follow price, use levels and trend lines as your risk management and as your future map. As your map for future price action. Tesla, these trend lines are holding as a slide down towards the gap to the 235, 234. This gap needs to get filled, and maybe then we will see break up and a breakthrough for Tesla towards this gap at the 290. On the weekly, upper purple trend line, resistance, 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 resistance. Now retracement towards the 231 together with this purple trend line that helps us to identify the higher lows since beginning of 2023. AMD on the weekly purple trend lines helps us to identify that we are in an uptrend until proven otherwise. No need Fibonacci, no need nothing. We can clearly see that the 106, 107 is a very important level of support since June 20. If we look left, why this became a very important level of support? Look left, resistance, resistance, and all this area from August towards October of 2021, price up and down played with this level as support and resistance, and now this level we know it's a very important level of support together with the purple trend line. If you look on the daily, zooming in, 107 support, it was resistance, now support, 119, 120 to the upside, resistance, long above, short below, and we can take Fibonacci, swing low, swing high. Next will be the 103.80 and then 98 to the downside. Nvidia, after 4, maybe more, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 weeks of not much of a movement, Nvidia broke down and under the 416. Next is the 380, and we are talking about the weekly. If we take a look on the daily for Nvidia, 400, and we have the 394 gap. Let's see if this gap will get filled. If this gap will get filled, next is the 374 and then 357. We can take Fibonacci to help us identify the next levels of support for future price action. As we can see, 400 below it, 395 gap, and then 378. Meta, after a very crazy bull run, now we have Meta, some kind of a retracement. We can zoom in to the daily. Gaps, earning gap, got filled. This is why I always say each and every day, each and every video, more than 80% gaps will get filled throughout time. So if you see a gap, you need to know, you need to embrace that gap will get filled. Gaps are like magnets for price action. Google, second week of nothing. Doji inside day, 126 to the downside, 134 to the upside is the resistance. Zoom in to get a better point of view of price action. Trend lines, short term retracement toward this purple trend line and towards the 123 gap. Longer term, we have the purple trend line to help us to identify that we are in an uptrend, very long-term uptrend on Google. Microsoft, continuation to the downside, third consecutive week to the downside. 317 is next. Below it, this red trend line. Look left, this red trend line held the higher lows since January. So with high probability, a weekly close below 317 and this red trend line together with the 306 will get retested. And if we can see it also on the daily, we have this red trend line. You know this red trend line because you follow me on Twitter and you saw previous videos. This red trend line price continues to slide down towards the 316 gap. Netflix, 9 weeks of sideways move, 412 to the downside, 443 to the upside. Above 443, we are heading towards 485. I'm talking about a week or two above 443. Then we are heading towards the 485. A weekly close below 412. And this yellow trend line will get retested once again as support, because if we look down and left, we can see that this yellow trend line holds the higher lows since June of 2022. If we zoom in to the daily, we have a gap to the 470, we have a gap at the 410, we have another gap at the 383 and another one at the 341. If you are a pattern seeker, pattern trader, you can clearly see left shoulder, head, and what might be the right shoulder. Validation, closing this gap, and downtrend continuation towards this red trend line. Below it, we are heading towards this gap at the 383 and maybe then towards the 341. But this one, in my opinion, is a little bit too far in the overall market sentiment. Overall market sentiment is bullish, uptrend until proven otherwise. And as we can see also on Netflix, we have a red trend line to help us to identify higher lows since June of 2022. If you want to take your trading journey to the highest level, stop following others, stop using lagging indicator, really understand in-depth candlestick analysis, aka pure price action, together with trend lines and Fibonacci, which are the only tools that will give you high probability where price might be heading next. Check the links in the description below to find your own path. Choose your own path, one-on-one mentorship live or same program but pre-recorded, 6 hours, 49 lessons. Check the links in the description below. Lifetime access guaranteed. Support, guidance, and all Discord channels. So I do hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit like, subscribe, share with friends. Any feedback, any comment will be much appreciated. Don't forget to check the links in the description below for more educational resources. Until the next video, enjoy the rest of your weekend.